there is one word that means that you're going from a hobby developer through to a big time indie developer. And that word is contracts. It's it's a scary word. Well, it can be. But I just kind of wanted to talk about my experiences with this. I've got one horror story towards the end, but the other ones are more things I've learned along the way. Getting into game development, you think it's all about making games and then those games turn into money. Well, it doesn't really work out like that, but it does work out that every game developer is going to have to start doing a contract. And whether that contract's going to be with a publisher or a storefront, or maybe it's for an engine, or maybe it's for other game developers. Whichever way it is, you are going to need to do some contracts. Now, I'm not a lawyer, so get your own advice for your own country. That's probably rule number one. Different countries have different rules, but I think there are a few things that everyone can think about and look at and work out. Now, there's some contracts that you're going to have to agree to or you're not going to use. You're basically making a decision. For example, if you're going to use a Steam store, Apple store, Android store, either any of these ones or things like this, you're going to have to agree to their contracts. Simple as that. You don't have any other options. All I would suggest with these contracts is make sure you fill it out correctly. There are still things you can muck up on these contracts, and yeah, it's different for every country. But yeah, if you don't like what's in them contracts, don't use that store. Publishers are a bit different. A lot of them just want to get a catalog of games these days. If I was going to sign with a publisher, they would have to offer me some kind of money to finish the game. Like I think that's what a publisher should do. They should go, hey, here's some money to finish building your game, and we'll take that out. Plus, we're going to use this much for ad revenue. But most publishers seem to give you a contract that says, hey, we're basically going to do nothing, and we want 15 to 30%. And you're like, yeah, that sounds great. I guess what I'm trying to say is a lot of the publishers don't have fantastic deals. And if you're new to the publishing world, you're going to get pushed around and screwed down more and more. Try and find some other game developers that have used publishers. Ask them, if possible, to get some more insight into what is a good and bad deal. And then there's contracts between creative people. So if you've got some coders working for you, if you've got some designers, if you've got music people, you might want a contract in that situation. When I go to work with people, I normally do a bit of a verbal type contract to start with. It's mostly, hey, what are you hoping to get out of this? What kind of money or percentage do you want to see from this game? I think that's kind of important to start with that part, because say you get a music guy on and he says, yeah, I'm worth 50% of the game, but it isn't a music game. He's just adding some ambient sounds to the game. Then 50% is probably too much. I mean, if it was a rhythm-based Guitar Hero type game, then 50% might be a fair chunk. But understanding what they want from the start might give you an indication of if you should start working with these people anyway. Then after that, I would see how the game progresses and probably go for a contract somewhere through the game, unless you're a bigger company with lots of money and you can afford these contracts. Like, I'm getting some contracts drawn up now and they're costing me thousands of dollars. Like, it's not cheap to go and get a quick little contract between this guy and that guy, this guy and me, literally using a fair chunk of money for this. So you want to have some kind of funding or makes you believe that this is important. I guess what I'm trying to say here is that if you don't trust the people at the start, it's probably going to be a pretty shitty game anyway. It's probably not going to work out all that well for all of you guys, because you kind of have to have a fair bit of trust in the people you're working with. I think that's really important. But on to my bit of a horror story, I guess. The big one for me was I had a contract given to me for a store similar to Steam, but it wasn't that one. It was a different one. I'm not going to name names. And this store had its own thing. And I thought, oh yeah, it's a nice little indie store. It's a good place to put my game. And I read through that contract, and it said towards the end, we have the rights to put your game on Steam. And I thought, no, you don't. And that's not what I thought about when I was signing up for your store. I was thinking I was going to put it on your store, not give you publishing rights. That's not kosher to me. So the very most important thing is to do your own reading, look through all your things. And if you're not sure, ask somebody else to read. They don't have to be a lawyer, but if you don't have a lawyer friend, just get your friend to read it and go, what do you think this line here means? At least then you can get a bit more understanding of what is going on in this situation. Like I said at the start, when you start getting into these contracts, you do feel a bit more game developer. It is annoying, and it's part of the job, but I think it's worth it in the end. Have you guys had any experiences with contracts? Let's put some comments down with these type of things, and go and check out Lighthouse World. Give it a wish list. It'd be the best thing that I could expect from you guys. Like and subscribe. Thank you for watching.